Welcome to Podcast Done For You, the show where we make it as easy as possible for you to make the right choices to advance your podcasting career. So let's get started on the show. Pay attention. What's going to make you switch on right now? Well, I'm asking you the question. This is a really important episode of Podcast Done For You show because I want your feedback. There's lots of things that we can do on this show, lots of things that we can talk about, but it's all about you paying attention. How much attention are you paying? Are you watching? Are you listening? Do you prefer both? What do you do? What makes you sit up and take notice when it comes to podcasts? It's all very well for me to sit here and tell you a whole bunch of things that you could do, but why not you give me the feedback? Because after all, you've paid a little bit of attention because you're here right now. Now, there's lots of things that we can do to, like check out under the hat. Well, under the hood, as it were. Or we could just simply, try on a different hat. Everything works. There's lots of different ways that we can get you to pay attention. But it depends on if you're viewing or if you're listening in the first place. So what are you doing? Which one are you at? Give us a link. Give us a shout out. Give us a little thumbs up in the form of a like, I should say, on whatever platform that you are on. Let's see where we get the most feedback, because that in itself will be interesting. But what makes you take notice? Now, is it a visual thing? I mean, is it literally, hey, this is a good hat? Or, do you prefer I go back to the other hat? Or, no hat at all? I mean, all of these things are possible. But does it really make you pay attention? Is it about the aesthetics? I mean, is it about, hey, there's a nice sign there. There's some good lights over there. Does that make you pay attention? Is it a fancy headline that comes across the screen? Maybe that's the thing that is making you pay attention. But of course, if you're not watching, if you're listening, there's none of those visual cues. So when it comes to listening, what makes you sit up and take notice? Do you pay attention to those fancy voiceover introductions that we do on many of the podcasts? We do them on plenty of the podcasts we do for clients. Do a bit of an introduction, tend to start off with a headline grabber and a little bit of what you'll have coming up in the episode. But does that make you pay attention? Do you prefer that? Do you prefer to just get straight back into it? Do you like the little grabs that you have? There's a lot of effort that can go into that, of extracting things and putting it at the front. Does that make you pay attention to the full episode? Is it literally about the topic, or are there some podcasts that you will listen to no matter what they are talking about because you are so engrossed in them now that you'll keep listening no matter what? Or is it very dependent on what the topic of the day is? And what about new podcasts? What makes you pay attention? Well, again, there's lots of things that we can suggest that would be there. I think very much a professional voiceover introduction is a big starting point, but you don't want it to be too long, and you want it to be friendly and approachable. And ideally, you want it to be someone who's also featured on the show, not the host of the show always. Not the main expert, I should say, but it could be. That's the reason why I have a co-host. I co-host a lot of shows, so I can do those things for people and make them position them as the expert, not as the host, because they're two different roles. That's for another time that we'll go into more detail on that. But paying attention here, I want you to think about what are the things that make you take notice. Is it a dramatic pause? Is it something that is really engrossing in terms of a story? Does it have to be a story? Is it the pace at which people speak? What I find interesting is that a lot of people will consume podcasts at different speeds. The average is probably upping it up to a 1.2 or 1.3 speed, depending on which platform you're listening to it on. I know some people will go up to 2 times. I think that's a little bit fast for a lot of the stuff that I listen to. But hey, is it so? Therefore, if people are speeding things up, then you would argue that paying attention is not about slowing down, or is it? These are all factors to think about. When it comes to getting your audience to really pay attention, the core of it has to, of course, be the real topic that is at the heart of what their pain points are. That's what you want to be front and center. To get people to pay attention, talk to what they care about. Now, if it's in the form of a podcast that is very much about business, then yes, you want to zero in on those pain points, really isolate them. I mean, like we've done in this particular episode, it's very much about the pain point of getting people to pay attention. Because the truth is, if you look at a lot of the analytics of a lot of the shows, there's a significant drop-off very quickly. So thank you for sticking around right now. And a lot of it might also be getting people to pay attention because there's a bit of a tease of what is to come that is something in it for them. So one of the things that we do with all of our podcasts now is we feature a notebook, a workbook, I should say, that is available for you to download for free so you can actually take some of what we've been talking about and use it to your benefit. Now, it makes it much more interactive, and that hopefully is a little bit of a tease of something that you can tell people is going to be available, and you'll talk about it more later on. So it enables people to stick around, have an excuse to stick around. It really forces them to keep paying attention, because it's one thing to get, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. And it's another thing for them to stay listening to you or to stay watching. Now, one of the interesting things, and we're going to go back to the watching part in terms of paying attention, is really interesting because the majority of podcasts fall into the category of being a conversation that is designed in the way that you want the people that are talking on the podcast to be talking to you. I mean, that's why you pay attention, right? Is because you feel as though they're talking to you. Now, of course, if it's a celebrity style podcast, and even in the business sense, shout out to Diary of a CEO and Mel Robbins and some of those great podcasts that are out there, but they're in almost the celebrity status. The people that are listening to those podcasts on average are not people that are going to picture themselves either being on that show or necessarily being alongside some of the people that are on that show as a regular on a semi-regular basis in terms of being interviewed and things. So therefore, that's more of a fly on the wall scenario. So if you want people to pay attention, it is very much about introducing them into a topic that is meaningful to them. So it's not about the visuals, I would argue, as much as it might be for a fly on the wall style podcast where you are genuinely curious about it. Now, of course, if you go into things like Mr. Beast, then you're going to be talking about something that is way more visual. But the average business podcast is 2, 3, 4 people talking to one another. And once you've seen them for a moment or two, it ain't all that exciting really, because it's just conversation. That doesn't mean you don't listen to it, but the watching of it isn't maybe as critical to get them to pay attention. So, is it some other simple things? I mean, is it about a change in voice? Is it about getting louder, getting softer? Is it about making a point and really, gesticulating? Again, I'm not so much about the visuals, but more about in the way that you speak and deliver it to get people to draw them back into what you're saying. Always pay attention to what draws you in. What is actually making you pay attention when you listen to some of your favorite podcasts? Because that's a hint, perhaps, of what you might be doing in your podcast. I hope you've been paying attention to this one, and a shout out to the very great TV show, Have You Been Paying Attention as well? If you haven't caught that one, do listen in, or watch, I should say. That's one of my favorite shows. But in all seriousness, what's drawing you in? Give us some feedback. What is making you pay attention? We've talked about a lot of possibilities in it. So there is one final thought that you might have about getting people to pay attention to your podcast. It is very much about letting them see you and see you in a professional light. And that means being able to talk well. I mean that in the most sincere and way, but when you have people that are umming and ahhing and really difficult to listen to because the quality of the audio is not great, because the way they speak is not great, you are not going to be able to get them to pay attention. Not everyone can have a great radio voice. Not everyone is going to have a voice that makes people want to listen to them. So you have to overcome that with other things that will draw people in if that's the case. But it is about getting them to pay attention, and uniqueness can absolutely win. I mean, think of it this way. There have been TV shows like The Nanny over the years where part of the attraction of drawing in was definitely Fran Drescher's voice. That you could point to lots of examples of a voice drawing people in and not being what you would call a natural radio voice. It doesn't have to be that kind of approach, but it does have to be professional. It does have to be delivered in a way that is in line with your brand. Don't put it on in order to create a persona that is not actually in tune with who you are, because then you're getting people to pay attention for all of the wrong reasons. So I hope you've been paying attention for the right reasons. I hope you've enjoyed this particular episode of Podcast Done For You show. We're all about making people pay attention. We're all about making the right people pay attention. And that is my final tip for you, is make sure it's about the right people, because it's really easy to attract the attention of the wrong people. But getting the right people to pay attention is all about being authentic as you, telling stories and having a conversation with a co-host who is just there to do exactly that, help you extract those gems, those bits of gold that are going to make people sit up and take notice. Because like I have done in this particular podcast, and like I hope you do in all of yours, is make sure you give lots of things for people to think about, lots of opportunities for people to consider, and to write down what their top opportunities are, what their next steps are as a result of listening to your show. It's not about telling them how to do stuff. Don't mistake that. Getting them to pay attention is about demonstrating your knowledge and them wanting to come to you, just doing some little things and realizing there's a lot more to it, and they should contact you in order for them to get the most out of it. That's what we do. Podcast Done For You. We make that easy for everyone. So don't forget to check out the show notes. You'll see a workbook with some information about what we've talked about today. Don't forget to leave your comments and let us know in the form of a like where you're tuning into this particular episode, and the comments about what has made you pay attention, not only in this show, what resonated most, but also in the other shows that you listen to. Give me some examples. I'd love to see those and follow up with a future episode. So like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for being part of Podcast Done For You show.